Shalom. Welcome to Rabbi Kaufman's Understanding the World. I'm joined today by Mark Finkelstein of the Jewish Community Relations Commission of the Des Moines Jewish Federation. And this is The World in 5 minutes, our first segment on the show. This week, we continue to face many of the same issues that were at the top of the headlines last week. It's just that some of them are becoming worse and some of them are becoming more difficult to address. Later on in the show, we will talk about the Israeli coalition, or the building of an Israeli governmental coalition with Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu made an agreement with Tzipi Livni of the Hatnuah party this week to join the coalition, bringing the Israel Beitenu, Likud, and Hatnuah coalition to a total of 37 seats. In order to form a governmental coalition in the Israeli government, you need 61 seats. And so the struggle continues. We'll talk about that in much more detail during our show today. The other news that is going on is things in Syria continue to get much worse. The government of Syria appears to be potentially close to falling in the next few weeks. Russia is now evacuating some of its citizens from the country. They had flights come in, supply flights came in yesterday, and they made the offer to ship out anyone who wanted to join, anyone who wanted to get on those flights back to Russia. They have evacuation plans for the 30,000 citizens that are currently in Russia. And with President Obama coming to the region next month, it appears that much of the discussion is going to be about how to deal with potential fallout from the collapse of the Assad regime in Syria. Today, we also found out that Chechen rebels, Chechen militants, have come to Syria to join in the fight against the Syrian government on behalf of al-Nusra, the al-Qaeda-backed Islamist militant group. So we have in Syria right now Iranian-backed Revolutionary Guards. We have Hezbollah fighting alongside the Assad regime against Islamist groups from all over the Middle East and even into the former Soviet Union, as you just heard. And the situation is so volatile that the United States and Israel and others are having to be pretty much on red alert as to what to do should the regime fall. In addition, this happens to be, or we're closing in on, I guess, Israel Apartheid Week. Is this Israel Apartheid Week?
It may be coming up.
Israel Apartheid Week is coming up, and there's all kinds of articles that are out there about trying to connect Israel to apartheid and discussing that. There are also articles connecting Senator Hagel to statements concerning similar things about whether or not Israel should be considered an apartheid state. The issue that we're going to talk about at one point, either a little bit in this show, I think, but certainly later on in future shows, is what exactly is apartheid? What exactly is going on in the West Bank? And is there any reason to consider what's going on in the West Bank, apartheid, and what's really going on? We'll deal with that at a much more detail at a different time. The other issue that is of concern for many of us is foreign aid. And with the sequestration bill going through Congress, there is an automatic cut to foreign aid, and Israel stands to lose somewhere around $200 to $250 million a year from the sequestration. And this that money goes directly to pay for one of the Iron Dome defense systems. That's pretty much the same cost as the Iron Dome defense systems. And so there is a direct impact upon Israel's security and upon, certainly along with any number of other foreign policy and domestic policy impacts of sequestration. So we will talk about all of those things as we go forward. That is the Week in Review.